Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name's Jenny and this is Arnold the Praying Penguin, and we create videos every Saturday about prayer, about exploring the Bible and about living out your faith. And today we're going to be talking about prayer, and in particular how I go about praying for my unborn baby and for my pregnancy. So whether you yourself are pregnant or you know someone who is and you want to be praying for them, I hope this video will give you a few ideas about how you can go about praying for them and what kind of things you could be praying about. Because I remember when I first found out I was pregnant, I just had no idea where to start. It was just this huge thing with so much unknown and so much kind of not knowing what was going to happen when, that I just really didn't know where to start with praying. So now that I'm in my third trimester, I wanted to share some of the things that I've learnt and some of the things that I found helpful. So I have 3 different kind of practical ideas for how to go about praying for your unborn baby and for your pregnancy, and then just a few thoughts and ideas on different things that you could be praying for, particularly if you also find yourself in that situation where you don't know where to start. So let's start with some different ways of praying. So the first thing that I do is using movement as a prayer prompt. So from about 20 weeks, just before 20 weeks, I've been able to feel different movements inside my belly. And that kind of starts at different times for different people. Some people can feel those kind of flutterings a lot earlier than that, and some people it'll be a bit later. And those movements kind of change as baby grows and they start to feel more like kicks and movements and rolling around inside your belly as baby gets bigger. But I did find that I was using those movements as a kind of prompt to talk to my baby and kind of respond to them, interact with them. If they moved, I'd be like, oh, what are you doing in there? Kind of that kind of interaction and talking. Or if I felt a certain kick, that would kind of prompt me to put my hands on them, to kind of feel what they were doing and interact with them in that way. So I thought, why not kind of expand that and use those as a prompt for praying for them. This could be praying out loud for them. That interaction and talking with them is really important as they're growing to kind of build that bond between you and to help their development. So praying can be part of that. It could be something that you're doing out loud, praying for them, praying with them, but it's also something you could do silently in your head, just depending on what you prefer and where you are. But I also think it's a great way to start that concept of praying together from this really, really early stage, as that's something that I hope to be able to continue doing all throughout their life of praying together. We can start that right now. My second idea for how to pray is to use a prayer journal that's dedicated to your pregnancy and to that baby. So lots of people will keep some kind of pregnancy journal or memory book and kind of catalogue things that they're going through throughout their pregnancy. So from about 12 weeks, I decided that I wanted to do this, but in a prayer journal form. So this is the prayer journal that I use. I've mentioned this in a couple of different videos, and I've talked about prayer journaling quite a lot recently because I really love it. I really love being able to write down my prayers as I pray. That's something that really helps me personally. But I also particularly love having this prayer journal dedicated to this baby and this pregnancy. And it's a place I can go to when I want to be praying for this baby and for all the things that I'm going through in this pregnancy as well. This is my first pregnancy, so there's a lot of kind of things that are unknown, things that I don't know about, things that I'm learning about along the way. So it's really interesting to be able to kind of put those all down in these prayers. And I think this will be really special to be able to look back on. Already looking back from when I was 12 weeks pregnant and seeing what I was praying about and how God has answered those prayers is already really interesting. So as baby continues to grow and when baby is born and is growing up, I think this will be a really special collection of prayers that I've prayed for this baby. And it's also just a really great reminder to continue praying for this baby and for this pregnancy and really take time to think about what it is that I want to pray for them. And our third idea for how to pray is to pray through the weeks. So even though we tend to talk about pregnancy as being 9 months long, when you're actually pregnant, everything is talked about and measured in weeks. You're either 4 weeks pregnant, 12 weeks pregnant, 20 weeks pregnant, and so on. Up to 40 weeks in total if you reach full term. And because of that, there are lots of websites and books and apps that will update you each week as to what's happening with your baby, with their development and with you, kind of what symptoms to expect, or what specific things your baby may be developing that week or going through. Obviously these aren't personalised to you and they can't know exactly what's going on in your body, but it gives you a general idea of kind of what's happening at each stage of pregnancy. And I find these so interesting. Obviously I can't see what's going on inside my belly. I don't know what body parts are growing at different times, how their brain's developing, all of these different organs and how they're working together. I cannot tell that from outside. So to have these apps and kind of this knowledge that scientists have gained to be able to say, oh, at about this time the brain is developing in this way, at about this time they'll be able to react to sound outside of the womb. I find those so interesting. And I also think that they're a great prompt for us to use for prayer. So each week when I roll over into a new week, I read through those apps and see kind of what is developing with my baby this week, what things can they do that they maybe couldn't do before, what symptoms might I be expecting this week. And I use those as much more specific prompts for prayer, so that if I know that their brain is developing so that they can see better, I can be specifically praying for that development. Or if it tells me that they're growing in this certain way that could cause me some rib pain, for example, I can be praying that actually that rib pain isn't too bad. And it just helps my prayers to feel so much more personal to this baby and to understanding what they're actually going through at different times, and be really focused in on actually all these different parts of their development. So those are some practical ideas for how to go about praying. But what should we actually be praying for? Of course, I don't necessarily think that there is a wrong thing to be praying for or a bad thing to be praying for, as long as you're praying for a happy and healthy baby. But I know when I first found out I was pregnant, I had no idea where to start really. So I've got a few ideas I just wanted to share with you. And I've split these into kind of two groups. The first is kind of reactive prayers, responding to either things that are happening or kind of prompts that you see around you. So these could be things like that we've mentioned, like reading those apps and finding out what kind of development your baby is going through and responding to that. It could be praying in response to the movements that you're feeling or the symptoms that you're experiencing, praying that something will go away or something that will ease, or that you'll find helpful ways of dealing with different symptoms like morning sickness, for example. It can feel quite weird to pray for a symptom to go away because you know that that symptom is also reassuring you that your baby is growing and that's normal, and that shows that everything is good and going well. So you don't necessarily want to pray for that thing to stop and go away, but you do want to be praying that you'll be able to get through it, that you'll be able to find ways of dealing with it. And you can also be praying for your appointments, that any appointments you have coming up will go well and go smoothly, and also after appointments, based on anything that you've heard or learnt in that appointment, you can be praying for specifically. And then looking forward, of course we want to be praying that we have a healthy pregnancy, that everything goes smoothly, that there are no complications. And we also want to be praying for our own mental and physical health, that God will keep us well and help us to deal with the pregnancy, because of course it does have a big impact on your body. We can pray for God's protection over both you and the baby, that God will protect them from harm and protect you from harm and keep you safe throughout that time. As we get closer and closer to giving birth, we can be praying for a safe and healthy birth, for all the doctors in the hospital that will be there helping you, and that everything will just go smoothly and healthily as possible. I think a prayer that I've found really helpful is praying for God to equip us. I think this comes in all different stages. We can be praying that God will equip us for pregnancy and give us everything we need to get through the pregnancy. We can be praying for God to equip us for birth, that we will be able to plan well, we will be able to get through whatever it is that happens during birth, that God will give us the strength. And also that God will equip us as parents, looking forward to after the baby is born, that God will give us everything we need to raise the baby. And building on that, we can of course be praying for this child's future, for everything that will happen in their lives, for who they're going to be, who they're going to grow up to be, all the different experiences that they're going to go through in their life. We can pray that they will come to know God and love God. We can pray that they will be healthy and happy as they grow up. God already knows everything about their life, so we can pray over all of it. And then above all, I think throughout our pregnancy, one prayer that we should be continually praying is prayers of thanksgiving. Thanksgiving to God for this baby and for their life and everything about them. I think that's a wonderful way for us to just remember this gift that we've been given, and even in the really difficult parts of pregnancy, just remind us of what a gift this is. So those are just a few ideas for how we can go about praying for unborn babies and those who are pregnant. Let us know down in the comments if you have any other ways that you like to pray for your pregnancy and your baby. And if you have any particular prayer requests, either for yourself or for someone you know, do drop those down in the comments too, and we'll be praying over them. But if you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please do give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from me and Arnold. And if you're looking for some more ways to pray, do check out these videos that are on screen now. But for now, we will see you next Saturday for a new video. Bye!